Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Mike Kitchen Edition. Not that we're adding an addition to the house. I just mean I'm in the kitchen. So, hope y'all are doing great. The reason that I'm not in the studio today is that our schedules are a little bit different this week, a little bit weird. I'm moving my days instead of Monday through Friday, I'm doing Wednesday through Sunday. So, I'm not really like off necessarily. My days are just adjusted a little bit. So, I hope you guys are doing great. It's been so cold. I can't with the cold. I don't know about you, but I've had enough with the cold. I just can't. And we're going to talk about that coming up because we are not done with the cold temperatures. Not by a long shot, not yet. Now there is some warm weather in sight, but we are going to get a couple more shots of some cold air coming in. So, we'll talk about that coming up. We're also going to talk obviously about the biggest weather story of the last several months, the last year probably, and that is the Southern California wildfires and the just it's a catastrophe. It looks like a apocalypse out there in some neighborhoods, towns. It's just unbelievable. So we'll talk a little bit about what causes that, what we're looking at as far as the wind situation over there that leads to these sort of eruptions, Santa Ana winds and things like that. So, but first of all, I want to start out on a light note, on a happy note. The Texans, the Texans. I mean, look, everybody all week long was talking about Rex Ryan. Now, if you don't know who Rex Ryan is, he used to be the coach of the New York Jets. Uh, He did take them to some AFC Championship games with Mark Sanchez. I mean, yeah, he was a good coach. He's a good coach. Um, he kind of left the league under some weird circumstances. But anyway, he said that the Texans were, I mean, that the Chargers, the LA Chargers, were basically getting a bye week by having to play the Texans. Just saying that we're a weak team and, it's pretty much just they're going to bowl over us. Now, I see a little bit of where he's coming from because, we didn't end the season very well. After Tank Dell, got suffered that injury, it just for some reason seemed like CJ kind of like it took some of the wind out of his sails. I don't know why, but, they weren't playing with the same sort of, finesse that they usually do. But boy, they showed up on Saturday. Wow. I mean, big time. I mean, they just mopped the floor with the Chargers. They really did. Now, granted, maybe the Chargers, well, not maybe, they probably were distracted by what's happening in their hometown. I mean, Los Angeles and so much of that area is burning down. I don't know if the players were directly affected in their homes. Some of them might have been, but I'm sure psychologically it was a stress for them. But regardless, they did not play well. Their quarterback, Justin Herbert, was awful. The Texans were great. So, but did you know this? Do you know who we have to play next week or later this week? The mighty Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift's boyfriend. We have to play them on Saturday. The NFL came out with their schedule. I think we are due for Saturday afternoon. And I will tell you and show you here in a few minutes that weather for the game looks cold. It really does. The weather in Kansas City is going to be awful. I don't think it looks snowy at this point, but it's going to be harsh. Like the temperature probably in the teens or low 20s with a pretty vicious wind of about 20 miles an hour. The wind chill for that game is probably going to be something like five, like in the single digits. It's going to be very, very cold for the Texans in Kansas City. And then, well, I don't want to give too much away because we're going to look at the weather maps here in a minute and talk about some of the other NFL games coming up this weekend. But so we've got football, we've got cold weather, we've got California wildfires. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few things. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm recording this on Zoom so that I can. Um, Also, by the way, so we have two dogs. Hey Goosey, come here. They're kind of cutting up a little bit. Like Goose is over there by the door. He's been asking to go outside. Goose, you've been outside like 10 times today. No. Go night night. You want to join me? Come here. He probably usually doesn't let me pick him up like this. Come here, buddy. No, he won't. But anyway, he's like begging to go outside and he's annoying me because he's already been outside. You've been outside. Then I got them, they have these liver treats, freeze-dried liver at Costco for dogs. It says dogs and cats. Jelly wants nothing to do with it, but they're just like these chunks of liver. These dogs will like bite your hand off for these treats. So if you really want something special for your dog at Costco, I don't know what they're called. It just says like freeze-dried liver or something like that for dogs. They love, love these treats. I mean, oh my gosh, ridiculous. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this screen, make myself little here. So let's start off with the fact that we're going to be cold for a while. So right now we're looking at the GFS computer model. You've heard me talk about this all the time. GFS stands for Global Forecast System. It's the primary, what you would call a medium range American computer model. It goes out from hour zero to hour 384. So it's a 16-day forecast, which is pretty amazing. Kind of thing that we would never have been able to do, were it not for the supercomputers that this runs on. But what we can do, what I'm showing you right now, is the forecast temperature anomaly. So anomaly is just a fancy way of saying, abnormally higher or lower. So we're going to look at this and see, and I want to show you what it is indicating for us as far as the forecast of whether or not we're going to be abnormally higher or lower on our temperatures. So here we go. So what we're watching here is down here in Texas, where we're kind of average today. And looking ahead at time, I want you to notice this blob up here on the top part of the screen. This is going to be coming down like that, and it's going to bring just really cold air to a lot of the country again, and us included. So let me delete that. So here we go. So we're looking ahead in time. This is Tuesday, Wednesday. We're actually looking warmer. Thursday is a nice warm up across the country. Now, a lot of times, warmer air will precede colder air just because of the wind flow. So you'll get a wind flow coming up from the south, you'll get abnormally warm for a while, and then the colder air will come in. Goose, you already went outside, dog. Okay, hold on a second. All right, sorry about that, guys. Goose is, I could tell if I didn't let him out, he was going to start bothering us. So anyway, we're looking ahead here at Thursday and notice that down here in Texas, it's kind of red. So we are looking for above average temperatures there coming up on Thursday and on Friday. In fact, it might actually be like very, very mild coming up Friday and early Saturday. Probably going to be our warmest temperature for a while. Now he's wanting to come in. He's going to go in his cage. Hold on. Lucy, here. Getting me off, man. Okay, so while we were paused, sorry guys, I let Goose back in and I gave him one of those liver treats, one of the aforementioned liver treats, and so now he's okay. All right, so this is Saturday, and I want you to notice here how we have this large area of the country here Saturday morning that is abnormally warm. including, by the way, up here in Kansas City. But it's not going to stay that way. So as we look ahead in time here, this is now, let's see, Saturday morning. Now look what happens here. This is going to be a close call with the Texans, I'm telling you, because coming up on Saturday afternoon, this area right here, which is right in the middle of your screen, Kansas City, is all of a sudden now running on the cold side. And we're looking for colder air to come in. So there's Saturday. Now look what happens here. I mean, just look at this blob coming down from Canada. Watch the purple. Bam. So that's what's coming down into Texas. Now we're talking about early next week. Boom. So this is going to be our next round of really cold air. Not to say we aren't going to stay cold the rest of this week. We are, mostly in the mornings for the next few days, but this is going to be a big story across the country with the cold air coming on in. So this is Sunday, Monday next week, and then we stay. There's another boom coming down here. So by next Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're probably going to stay cold here for all of next week before warming back up. Now, I will tell you that this is now 2 weeks out that it is showing some warm air down here in Texas coming up around the 26th, 27th, and 28th of January. But for the rest of this week, I mean, just you don't like to see this blob like that coming down. And as far as what we're actually looking at for temperatures and not just looking at a purple blob, we can get an idea here. Let me just show you what we're looking at. So instead of anomaly, I will turn on the temperature. And so let's go here. And so let's see, let's fast forward to Monday the 20th, and it's showing 27, 28, 30. So another freeze likely. And then let's go to Tuesday the 21st. We have 29, 38, 40. And here's Wednesday the 22nd, lots of 30s. Thursday, 40s. So let's see. The coldest morning right now looks like it's going to be Monday. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out for that on Monday. In fact, and that's the GFS. We can also switch here over to the European model and see what it is showing. Although I'll tell you, for this last cold weather event, it was overdoing the cold air a little bit. This is what the Euro. See, the Euro did this last time too. Was showing like lows in the teens and 20s, but actually we only made it down to like 31. So let's just take that with a grain of salt that if, when you see stuff posted here about what's coming our way next week, that the European model has been trending cold. We call that a bias. So it's had a cold air bias here for the last couple of events that we've had. Now, as far as frozen precipitation, we could take a look at that too. Um, let's see. So this is the front coming in. Let me go ahead and shrink this so that we can maybe see it a little bit better. So here's the cold air coming in. Let's go. Dot, 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 dot. So now we're Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Here comes the front. This is the cold front coming in. And then it's not showing any precipitation until, let's see, next week, really. Do I have this on frozen? Yeah. So let's switch back to GFS because the GFS was showing some snow. Whenever you have to, this is like forecasting hurricanes, like here. So the GFS right now on next Tuesday, the 21st, is showing this area down here for us of snow and sleet and freezing rain. So this is now 8 days out. And I'll tell you that it was doing the same thing for our last round of cold air that arrived last week, that it was much more aggressive on snow than what we actually got. Remember, most of the snow fell up there in North Texas, and that was it. So we'll see. I mean, look, the model is showing snow in New Orleans too, and it's probably not going to happen. It's showing heavy snow over in Opelousas. Probably not going to happen. The other thing I wanted to show you is so we have the Texans who are going into Kansas City here on this weekend, on Saturday. And right now, it's, we're really showing right here where my cursor is pointed. These lines that are close together, we call that a tight pressure gradient, and that has to do with what's happening in California too, by the way. And so that means windy conditions. And then finally, sorry, I can't get off of football because I'm so into it right now. When we take a look at weather for the let's see, there's a game in Buffalo, and then there is at Philadelphia. So Buffalo, the Broncos and the Bills. There's a good chance for snow on the day before the game, and then the day of the game there might be some flurries, and it's going to be like typical Buffalo cold. And then for Philadelphia, which is taking place later that day, there also is going to be a chance for some some snow there. So actually, this is interesting because this is the newest run of the GFS is actually showing a lot more snow in Philadelphia. Maybe it holds off till after the game, but anyway. So there's your football forecast. So bottom line is it's going to be cold for the rest of the week. Oh, I did want to share with you some statistics here real quick. Um, so how cold has it been here recently? We could take a look here. I wanted to just read these numbers off to you. We were 38 degrees this morning, and the last several mornings here, I want to tell you how cold we've been this month. Like, does it feel like we've been unusually cold since the new year? Yes. So we were 38 this morning. The previous, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So this morning was our ninth day in a row with lows in the 30s. The coldest that we've been so far is 31, believe it or not. We have had three freezes. We had two freezes on the 5th and 6th of January, and then we did freeze on Saturday morning. So we've been down to 31, 31, and 32. Those are the coldest temperatures we've had so far this year. So will that trend continue? Well, right now, I could share this with you too. Let me go ahead if you're just kind of curious at some of the stuff, that we look at here. And this is kind of basic. But we could look here at the latest GFS model. And let me refresh this just to see if we got a new update. Probably didn't. Yeah. So we could look at like Tuesday, 38 in the morning, 57 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, 30s in the morning. Thursday, 30s in the morning. Friday, 30s in the morning. But remember, I was showing you on that last page, the blob, right? How there was this warm area that was going to come in before our next cold blast. And that's coming up here Friday and Saturday. So right now it's showing a high temperature in the upper 60s on Friday and also near 70 on Saturday. That's this Saturday before plunging temperatures come in. So right now, for example, it's showing us staying stuck in the 40s on Sunday and getting down to freezing on Monday and just the whole thing. Oh man, I've had enough. I'm telling you. So that's what's happening for this week, the rest of this week. And of course, you can get the latest forecast with, let's see, Allison was on this morning. JD will be in tomorrow. And of course, Ramisha at night, to keep up with not only the cold air this week, but what's going to be coming our way next week. Okay, let's get to the California wildfires, guys, because it's obviously it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely ridiculous. As far as what caused all this, you may have heard the term Santa Ana winds. Well, this is something that's unique to California. We don't get Santa Ana winds in Texas. Yes, we get hot, dry winds sometimes in the summer, but not like they do. You have to consider that Southern California is so much different than Texas. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. The dog. The terrain in California is something unlike we have here in Texas at all. So you have mountains that are covered in trees. You have mountains farther inland that are sort of more desert. You have valleys, and a big portion of the population lives in these valleys, like the San Fernando Valley and things like that. And then you have people who live in the hills, the West Hills and the Hollywood Hills and Beverly Hills and all of this stuff. So there's a huge difference in terrain across California. Most of our part of Texas is basically the same. You know what I mean? Like Harris County is not really any different than Fort Bend County, and maybe Montgomery County has more trees, but it's not that much different. So with this changing terrain and the fact that um, you have desert off on one side. Let's look at Los Angeles. Sorry, I'm just gonna I want to show you a map. It might be a little more descriptive, but you've got the Mojave Desert on one side, and then you have the ocean on the other side. And so you have this incredible difference of terrain across the area. And it's something like it's not even remotely the same as what we have here in Texas. So let me just show you here. So in this location, so here's now granted, I do not know California. Okay. I've been there once. Look, we have Lena DeFlorius used to live in California. I'm sure, we've got people who know it very well. And so I don't know it as well as they do. But the bottom line is see here where it says Palisades Fire, and then this is the Eaton Fire. So you have this is trees. So you have see Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area. So this is all hills and trees. And then the same thing is up here north of Pasadena, the Eaton Fire. This is the Angeles National Forest. I mean, you have hills and trees, and then you have a valley. So out here, off to the east of Los Angeles, you have desert. You have nothing but desert here from this inland area all the way over to Phoenix and Tucson and taking you over to El Paso. This is all desert and Las Vegas and all of these spots. Now, what's interesting is that in California, you're right there on the Pacific Ocean. And so, depending on which way, and the Pacific Ocean is cold, by the way, depending on which way the winds are blowing, you can have foggy, chilly, kind of clammy kind of weather when you have what's called an onshore flow or a marine layer. Then you have the situation that they have out there right now, which is the opposite, which is where you have these offshore winds, which in the case of the Santa Ana winds, causes critical fire weather conditions. And so the Santa Ana winds are caused by high pressure that are over the Rocky Mountains or the deserts. So let me just circle this for you here again. So we're looking at high pressure here. I hope you can see that. I guess I should have changed that color. But anyway, you have high pressure there over Nevada, and then you have this low pressure here, which is over California. And in between the two, you have a pressure gradient. So you have the high it wants to move in this direction toward the low. But you have mountains and you also have this Coriolis effect. But the bottom line is the air wants to move out of the area of high pressure. That's what high pressure is. It's pushing. So with that in mind, the air wants to move. And so in this case, you have high pressure pushing toward California. And when it does that, it comes down the mountains. So you have high pressure here over let's say, Las Vegas, and you have lower pressure in Los Angeles. And the wind wants to flow down the mountains. It gets channeled into the valleys too. And you have a phenomenon called compressional heating. And technically, there's a word called katabatic heating. Adiabatic, which is another word, is like when the air moves up and it cools down and it condenses and forms thunderstorms. That's what we get here. The other way, though, is when the air moves down, it compresses, it heats up, and it gets very, very dry. So that's what causes their problems over there. Does it happen here in Texas? No, for several reasons, mostly because of the effect of the mountains. We have the Texas Hill Country, yes, but we don't usually have a situation where we're going to have this 90 mile per hour desert wind coming in down off the mountains. It just doesn't happen here. So we can, of course, have wildfires, We have had wildfires. 2011 was the notorious year of the drought in the year of wildfires across the region, but we don't get Santa Ana winds here in Houston, so we don't have to worry about that. Obviously, we have the opposite problem, which is flooding. So, thoughts and prayers to everybody there in California. And as far as your week ahead, prepare for more cold mornings and more cold air next week. Shout out to my mom and Neil who are watching in Florida. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen.